This story now, Judge Isaac Madondo has dismissed the application brought by Queen Sibongile Dlamini-Zulu to nullify the late King Goodwill Zwelithini's 5 other marriages. According to the judge, this application has come at a late stage of the proceedings and may be prolonging the matter and incur even more expenses for all the parties involved. Our reporter Lethiwe Mdluli is following the story and joins us now to get the latest. Lethiwe, can you take us through the proceedings and really what the judge highlighted informed the decision that he made?
Well, Rafia, from what we heard yesterday, the judge was not pleased with the application that was made by Queen Sibongile Dlamini-Zulu. He did state that it did not actually indicate what she actually wanted. And after that, the lawyers had to make some amendments and make sure exactly that they state what they wanted from this application. And that is, of course, to nullify the 5 other marriages of the late king. And since then, this morning, he's made a ruling that that application has been dismissed, and of course now what is currently happening, we understand that he is hearing the other application of the 2 daughters who had applied to have the will looked at, because they are saying that they do not believe that some of the signatures within that will are correct. They are claiming that some of them were forged. So that application is being heard inside court, but of course my colleague Amawande is the one who's inside and has more information on that. I'm actually outside Rafia, and I've been following the supporters who came in support and just being sympathetic to the King Misuzu Zwelithini. I'm now joined by Umam Nomagugu, who's here with some maidens, and I just want to ask her about her thoughts on the whole process inside court. What are your thoughts so far?
Yeah, thanks very much for the opportunity. No, we are looking at the positive note of the court, because when we are looking at our culture, I like the definition which says culture are the do's and don'ts of the society. So in our culture, especially when we look at the so-called the first wife of the king, she should have not let the king to marry other women firstly, but she was silenced and things happened. And now that the king has passed, now she is complaining and she becomes very greedy. It's not who we are to be greedy as indigenous people of this country. In fact, we must follow the ruling from the will of the king. Those who are saying it was forged by what? I mean, we are living in a very, we are in a state where people want money, as if money is everything. They have just forgotten about who they are, in fact. We share everything, we sympathize where we need to, together is who we are. So I think everything will go accordingly. And we are not alone here, because we have our ancestors who fought vigorously for this, for KwaZulu, or for our land. And they are the part of this spiritually. People cannot see them. But now that we did indicate in our homes, so we are with them. So things will, of course, they must be hectic. Things must be hectic, but at the end of the day, the solution will be there. In fact, to me, I can say the people of KwaZulu, I don't want to include Natal because that is colonialism. People are still living in the past, while they are saying they are democratic, they are whatever, but colonialism in this country is horrible. We are saying people must be humble, but we must ask our Mvelngandi and those people, the lawyer who represent our king, Mrs. Zwelithini, they are not alone. Things will happen because we are going to, he will be thrown by the people, because he will be governing people. The paper that they are talking about, the paper is not everything to us. And we must remember that all the courts and whatever, they came from the colonialists. And it's so unfair that today in these decades, people are still dismantling everything. There's fragmentation of us in the families everywhere. People are still following colonialism characteristics. Thanks very much.
So, Rofhiwa, that was one of the supporters who came to support King Zulu Zwelithini. She is, of course, here with maidens, and of course, they are also amabutho. We've been following them throughout the day. They did arrive at around 12 noon today, and basically from their chanting and what they are saying is that they're very sympathetic to what is happening inside court, and they are hoping that King Zulu Zwelithini wins this battle.
No, absolutely. Before I let you go, Lethiwe, we've spoken about supporters that are there for the king, Zulu, but are there any supporters for the first wife, AmaZulu, and have they said anything to you about the reasons that they are supporting her bid?
Well, there are people that are outside courts who remain neutral on this whole matter, saying that they only support the royal house as a whole. They are saying that they do not agree with bringing this matter to courts, and they are hoping that the courts are not the ones who would end up deciding on the next successor. And they are saying that this matter, they believe that it should have been dealt with by the family alone and not involve the courts. There are those people who are outside who are very neutral on the matter and just saying that they are here for the royal family because they are supporters of the royal family. But we do understand that inside courts there are siblings of King Zulu Zwelithini and also siblings for the other faction of Queen Dlamini and her daughters Ntando Yenkosi. We do understand that they are currently inside courts to show support to the whole family and of course those factions that are going head to head, and we will be hearing more on that application by the daughters to have the will looked at again.
Absolutely. Lethiwe Mdluli and Mawande Keswa following the story quite closely.